Jamie Dornan hopes Amelia Warner will reconsider the divorce. He doesn't want to lose this family. Jamie Dornan sat in the quiet living room of his small Dublin house, the sunset filtering through the curtains, casting warm streaks of light on the wooden floor. He held a cup of tea in his hand but did not pour himself a sip. His eyes looked out the window, where the garden was awash with the golden hues of autumn leaves, but his mind was completely blank. Amelia Warner had talked to him about divorce. Not once, but for the third time this week. Every time she mentioned it, Jamie's heart clenched. He loved Amelia deeply, not in the way people sulk or fall in love quickly, but with a slow, steady love that was embedded in every moment of their lives. The mornings making breakfast together, the afternoons watching their children play in the garden, the nights lying awake together when a child cried in the middle of the night. He knew Amelia was unhappy. He saw the weariness in her eyes, the long silences when they had dinner together. But the thought of losing her, of losing this little family, Jamie felt a paralyzing fear. He didn't want to accept that they could fall apart, that the laughter of children would disappear, that this house would become cold. He stood up, walking toward the study where Amelia sat. She looked at him with a look that was both determined and sad. "Jamie," she began, but he raised his hand, gently stopping her from continuing. "Please let me speak first," Jamie said, his voice trembling but firm. "I know you're tired. I know you feel like we've reached the brink. But I don't want to give up. Not now, not when we've built so much." Amelia sighed, her eyes shining with a sadness that Jamie knew he couldn't erase with words. "But he had to try. I want us to try again, Amelia. Not with empty promises, but with actions. I want to find a way for us to look at each other without feeling tired, without feeling disappointed. I want us to remember why we started, why I love you, and why we decided to become a family." Amelia was silent, just looking at him. Jamie stepped closer, taking her hand. "I'm not perfect. I know I've done wrong many times, and I'm willing to change. But the one thing I can't accept is losing you, losing our family." The room was silent, only the sound of the wind outside and Jamie's heart pounding in his chest. He waited, hoping, and afraid. He knew, in this moment, everything could change. Either Amelia would say no, or they would find a new spark. Amelia finally whispered, "Jamie, do you really think we can go back to how we were?" He nodded, his eyes sparkling but full of determination. "I don't want to go back to the way things were, baby. I want us to be better, to understand each other better, to love each other more. If you give me a chance, I will never let you regret it." She was silent for a long time, as if considering his every word. Finally, Amelia took a deep breath and said, "Please, give us a chance, Jamie. But this time, we have to really try." Jamie smiled, a smile that was both relieved and hopeful. He hugged her, hugging her fear, her love, and her dream of a family that would never be broken. In that moment, he knew that the fight to preserve happiness was not over, but at least, they had crossed the first line, not giving up on each other. The next day, Jamie woke earlier than usual. He no longer felt empty or hopeless. Instead, there was a quiet determination. Today, he would start to change, step by step. Amelia was sitting on the couch, looking out the window, holding a cup of coffee. He approached, put his hand on her shoulder, and she turned to look at him, her smile tired but genuinely warm. "What are you going to do today?" she asked, her voice soft but curious. Jamie chuckled. "Start by listening to me. Not listening like I always do while thinking about other things, but really listening. I want to understand what you feel, what you need. And, if you want, we can make a plan together to find joy in this life again." Amelia took a deep breath, nodded. Okay, but don't think everything will change overnight, Jamie. You know, haven't we tried? He held her hand, his eyes determined. I know, but this time it's different. I don't promise anything easy, but I promise I won't give up. They took small but meaningful steps that day. Jamie took the initiative to prepare breakfast for the family, played with the children, and shared the housework with Amelia without a word of complaint or grumble. Amelia looked at him, both warm and surprised. Jamie had changed, but what touched her most was the sincerity in his eyes. In the evening, after the children were asleep, they sat together, no longer distant or uncomfortable silence. Jamie began, I know we have a lot of unresolved issues, and we will have conflicts again. But I want us to face them together, instead of avoiding them. I want you to know that I am willing to learn to love you the way you need, not the way I think is right. Amelia was silent, her eyes red. Jamie, I'm scared that eventually, we'll end up back where we were, and the kids will see this again. I don't want to be disappointed again. He hugged her tightly. I understand, and I won't force you to believe it right away. But look around, what we've built, what we've been through, isn't it worth giving up? I know, love isn't always easy, but if we work together, we can get through anything. Day by day, Jamie began to prove it with actions, not just words. He signed up for family counseling, learned how to control his emotions during arguments, and most importantly, he showed Amelia that she wasn't alone in keeping her marriage together. Another evening, as they were cleaning up after dinner, Amelia turned to Jamie. Do you know what makes me emotional? She asked, her voice trembling. Jamie looked at her, skeptical but curious. What? She smiled weakly. You didn't just say you loved me, you showed me with your actions. You're not perfect, but I see you trying. And I want us to try again. Jamie felt his heart swell with sweet happiness. He took Amelia's hand, looked deep into her eyes. We'll try. Not perfect, but real. And I won't give up, you hear? Amelia nodded, but they both knew that this journey was just beginning. Love, they realized, wasn't a natural feeling that would last forever, but a daily decision, a daily effort to maintain and nurture.